Hey, 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 everyone. It is another episode of Beachside Banter with B. I'm your host, B Davis, and today I am here with Leighton Campbell. Oops, sorry. Um, who is a world traveler. He's a happiness expert. He's father of four, so he's got to have some serious patience. so, and he's an author of a book I'm so excited to read too. I just put it in my Amazon cart yesterday, and I'm planning on bringing it home. I can't wait. The book is called Your Happiness Equation, and it is all about how to be happy. I'm super excited. Leighton, go ahead, take it away. Tell everybody why you're here and what you stand for.
Yeah, so it's a great opportunity to talk about like some of the travels I've done and the project that I've worked on, Your Happiness Equation. It's been kind of a bit of a whirlwind, and a lot of some of the ideas that make it into the book are taken from my travels and some of the experiences that I've had, and how travel has affected my life and affected my happiness and my relationships and so on. So yeah, that's really exciting opportunity to talk about all this stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited. So, I saw somewhere that you've actually been to all seven wonders of the world. Is that right? Right?
That is correct. Yeah, we started the project. Forget what year we started the project, but the idea was to do one a year for 7 years, and we were on track, and then COVID hit. So then we got kind of sidetracked for about 2 years, but then we picked it up and then we finished it, and it was an amazing experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Which one was your favorite?
By far, it was Machu Picchu in Peru. It was our very first one. Um, Part of it, I think, is because we had literally 0 expectations. I had done no research on what I was getting into. I had no idea, and it was my probably first, like, more, like, quote, unquote, "exotic trip," like something outside of the States, something that was in another country, but, like, a historical ruin of a very high level. It was my first time experiencing any of that, so it just
Yeah.
absolutely blew us out of the water, and after seeing that, we're like, "Man, we gotta see the rest of them."
I could totally understand that. So you said that Machu Picchu is the first one that you've been to is your favorite so far, and I think it's because of the not having expectations. So guide me into that. Do you usually have expectations when you go? Like, do you do a bunch of research before you travel, or do you just kind of like wing it?
Yeah, so okay, I'm extremely busy in life. I have a business, 4 kids, hobbies. I mean, I've had to kind of put some of the travel on hold because of this whole book project that we're in. So typically, I don't research anything. Like, I'll research to the extent of like, where do I want to go? Where do people think is cool? What do I like? And that'll be the extent of it. But I won't do really a whole lot of research on it.
Dang.
Um,
So how do you decide where you're going?
well, the last couple times have been a bit easy because we had a goal, which I encourage people to do, is have a travel goal, and that's something that's gonna take you time to accomplish. So, um, typically, I have different categories of travel that I do. One set of travel I do, like, with my brother, and sometimes we have, like, other guys that come along with us, but my brother and I are the core group, and then whoever is willing and able and wants to come in, they're welcome, and that's kind of like a guy's trip. It's a guy's trip because a lot of times it's like no frills. It's like,
Gotcha.
and we're going from one city to the next. We're trying to get as much as we can in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of, and some of the hotels are like not the best. It's just that kind of trip. So that's one
Gotcha.
category. Another category trip I do with my wife, and those are nice resorts, nice hotels. And we are it's sometimes it's luxury, but it's definitely, um, like, solid stuff, that places I would take my wife, kinda thing. Like, there are hotels, like, and I've FaceTime my wife from hotels on my guys' trips, and she's like, "I would never step foot in that place." But, it is what it is. So I do that with my wife, and sometimes we'll do trips where, we're hiking and we're doing other things that are kind of like more adventurous, and we're getting dirty or sweaty, whatever is happening, but we're going back to a nice resort. So there's that category. And then I also do travels like with the family, and, that often is like with our children and so on, those are often road trips because it's tough to buy, like there's 6 of us, so it's tough to buy 6 plane tickets and then get 2 hotel rooms, and it's just a lot. So it's like, it's just better to, like, drive, and we've driven across the US several times and seen amazing things. So those are my 3 categories of travel. So this depends on, like, the vibe.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I think that being with kids is kind of difficult to travel. Like I remember when my kids were little and like I mean we literally we would fly out of Florida. So we live in St. Louis. So we would drive down to Florida and then hop on a plane to get over to the Caribbean or whatever it was. But it was always so chaotic. And then of course you get your kids there and they never behave the way they want to or are they excited about being there. And it's like you guys like we went to Grand Caymans and my oldest son just, like, totally just complained the entire time because he got a little bit of a sunburn, and then it was just like, "Oh, ma, this is terrible, blah, blah." I'm like, "Dude, you're in the Grand Caymans. Why are you complaining?"
Yeah, other kids.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So, we stopped doing kid travel once they were, like, 10 or 11, and, like, my youngest son loves to come on trips with me now, but my oldest son is like, "Nope, I will stay where I'm at, and I am fine with it." So, I get it. Travel's not for everybody.
Yeah,
That's
it's to each his own.
that's the moral of that story. So, I hear that you have, like, some really good travel hacks. Is there any that you would be willing to share with us?
Sure, I'll share all of them. Uh, so if you're an experienced traveler, like, this stuff may not be, like,
Yeah.
earth-shattering to you, but just things that I have done. So, I would love to be able to fly, like, private, like, on private jets, but I just not what I can do. So what I try and do is, like, okay, what is the good things about, like, flying private? Which I have actually never done, but in my imagination,
Right.
what would be the good things of that? And one of the things is just, like, the ease of getting in and out of the airport. So just, like, getting in, getting out as quickly and efficiently and hassle-free as possible, and minimizing your waiting. So what I do is I always park off airport. Like, I live around a million friends and family, but I just don't like to call people to pick me up from the airport. It's just like everybody's busy, everybody's got a life. Um, People call me to pick them up from the airport, and if I can, I will, but sometimes I can't. So I like to, when I get off of the plane, get on a shuttle, get to my car, and go home. So that is something I encourage people to do, and usually it's not that expensive because you can do off airport parking. I live near Fort Lauderdale, and so Fort Lauderdale and Miami are the 2 airports that we fly out of. And, from between 8 to $15 a day on the high end, you're parking your car at a hotel, a shuttle drive away from the airport. It just makes my life easy, and it just kinda puts me in control, so I'd say that's one. Another one, this is a little I like it, but I don't know. So, um, what I do is, like, I'll go through my wardrobe and I'll see because they say you should, like, eliminate the bottom 20% of your wardrobe every year, is what they say, and I don't really particularly do that, but when I travel, it's a great opportunity to get rid of, like, stuff that I don't want, or maybe it's not in the absolute best condition or whatever. Maybe there's like a hole in it that no one knows is there, but I know is there. So what I'll do is I'll pack that stuff and then I'll throw it out at the hotel or the other place that I just leave it. So that way on the way back, like I don't, I'm just traveling a lot lighter so sometimes getting it all packed in, maybe a little bit of a, struggle or whatever. Uh, Um, but yeah, that's that. And I've tried, this has been a goal that I've never accomplished. Um, I want to have the perfect travel packing experience where on my last day, I've used my last piece of clothes. I'm going back with everything has been used, and I have not done that.
That's
I
nice.
always have clothes left over, and I try and pack. It's another hack. I try to never check luggage,
Okay, yeah.
which is like my wife can't do that.
I can't do that either. I
Yeah.
admire people who can. I really truly do. My both my kids, my husband, everybody is able to, and I'm like, but there's just some things that I have to take with me that don't
And I
fit
get it.
check or yeah, I just can't take it.
100% get it, and that's also another reason for, like, the guy's trip versus my wife's trip, the trips with my wife. because like on some of our trips, like many of our trips, when we went to Egypt, when we went to Brazil, we went to some of these places. It's like we fly into one city, and then we have like 3 or 4 interior flights in the country.
Oh, yeah, that's a pain.
And if you're checking bags every time, it's like that's just one more bag that can get lost. That's what, and a lot of these connections, unfortunately, it's like again, we're like hitting it. So it's like you miss a flight, kind of throws everything off. And we've never actually missed a flight on an interior. We've never missed a flight ever, actually.
Yeah.
So it's being packing light and being able to never check a bag. That's also, if it's possible, I recommend it.
Yeah, so we went to Belize and over to Burgess Cay and from Belize City, and it was one of those super tiny planes. And getting our stuff there, because I think I was like at 42.6 or something like that as far as weight goes. And I think their cutoff is 40, whereas all the major planes is 50. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing good. And then we got there and they weighed my stuff, and I'm like, uh-oh, what do I do now? So I had to like grab as much stuff as I could out of my backpack or out of my luggage and throw it in my backpack. And I was throwing stuff in my husband's stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, what are we going to do? So I definitely learned to not take giant suitcases anymore. I'm down to like a medium size. So I feel like that's something, right? When you go from one of those huge ones to a medium, I'm working on it. I'll get there one day.
It's a process.
Yeah, it really is. And then, yeah, like trying to pack enough clothes to wear. And then like there's always something that happens and I'm like, oh, I forgot this or I didn't have this. And so there's always that. So you would try to pack extra, but not too much extra because you never know. So
Yeah.
it's always a pain.
We have I've done laundry in other places too. Like you take your clothes and just do laundry at the other place that you're at, especially if you have like an Airbnb, that kind of setup, or the hotels can do your laundry depending on where you're at, or sometimes there's like a laundromat near where you are. So that's another way to continue to pack light.
Yeah, but who wants to do laundry on vacation?
Um, okay, so I think there's okay, you have traveling and you have vacation, and those are
Yep.
not to be confused. Maybe your listeners are very like they're
But
honed in pretty.
queen. Yeah,
Yeah. So in my opinion, traveling is intense, and
it
it's
is. It
like
really is.
you're trying to see as much as you can and do some very adventurous stuff, and you're condensing it in a short period of time. It can be different, but it's like it's definitely not relaxing. A lot of times you need a vacation
For
after you
sure.
come back from traveling. So that's traveling. Traveling's hardcore. Vacation is
Say that,
different.
yeah. No, I get it, 'cause, we went to Bermuda, we were only there for 3 days just to create content, and it was, go, 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 grab as much as you can, like, "Oh, you don't even have time to eat," type thing, so I totally get the difference of it, and man, it's exhausting, it really is. I came back from Bermuda and I was like, "I'm refreshed because I was just hanging out at the beach, but I'm tired from all the stuff that I did." So, yeah,
100%. Yeah,
do completely
vacation is relaxing
different.
on a beach, and that's cool and fun. And I also recommend people, for myself, and if you're able to do it, is you always take the day off when you get back.
Yeah,
Don't come back
great idea.
right to work. Like come back to doing nothing and just retransitioning or getting out of the jet lag, whatever the case may be, but just don't go right back to work if you can avoid it.
Yeah, I have definitely learned that one. It's because I can't tell you how many days I went in right after, like, on a Monday, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I just got back last night at 11 PM or 11 PM, and I'm exhausted, and I get crabby then, and nobody wants to deal with any of that." So, I definitely learned. So how do you stay balanced then and, like, energized on these trips if they're so demanding?
Well, um for the vacation trips, they're not really demanding at all. Completely relaxing. I'm ready to hit the streets when I come back to my regular life. Um, for the travel trip, those are so fun. Like it's because I'm with my brothers or my guy friends, and it's just an amazing experience. Like I'm completely energized. You're tired, but you're like
Right.
energized, and we work out a lot too. Like when we're on our guys trips, we work out almost every day, every other day. So in addition to all the physical stuff we may be doing, we're also working out, but we're having a ton of fun. So like trying to find energy to stay is really not anything I've ever really considered, just because the nature of the trip is just so fun and intense, and we're seeing and doing amazing things. It's just like, yeah, I'm kind of jacked at that point. So I don't know. I've never have to worry about that or think about that.
Yeah. I get it. So is that your secret to staying healthy then while you're on the road? Is just working out and stuff? Or do you try to like follow a diet?
Yeah, I work out a lot in my regular life, and when I travel, I work out also. And part of the reason why I work out while I travel is because I have these like routines in my life, and I try not to break them. And I don't want to be like a week, 10 days. I really don't take trips longer than 10 days. It's just I have too much going on to be removed from my life. So 10 days is kind of like the max. But like 10 days of not working out is just not going to be good for my habits.
Right.
So the main reason I work out is because I don't want to break my habit. And so in terms of like eating and stuff, I am fortunate to have like a pretty decent metabolism. And the only thing I have to really be conscious of is like my salt intake because of like high blood pressure, disposition and so on.
Yeah.
But other than that, I kinda eat whatever I want, but I also, like, I enjoy eating healthy food at the same time, but I will like, I don't beat myself up if I have to, eat something that's quote unquote "not healthy," but if there are healthier options, I will take them. But if they're not, I'll eat whatever because I know I'm gonna work it out, and it's, like, kinda not a big deal.
That makes sense, I guess. Yeah. I feel like the salty thing, you said that, and I feel like when I'm traveling, especially, I feel like I get more like I don't even know, swollen, I guess, so to speak, from traveling. I wonder if it's because I'm eating a lot of salt. So now I feel like I need to go back to the drawing board and reevaluate some things. So just kind of spark something in me. I like that. So let's talk about your book. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so I wrote a book, and the title again is Your Happiness Equation. And essentially, what it is, the book is clearly about happiness, but I wanted a way to introduce this topic to people who probably wouldn't read a book on happiness. And the way that I decided to do that was to create an equation that would give
Okay.
people a happiness score on a 0 to 100 point scale. So the idea is you answer 7 questions. They're pretty easy, straightforward questions. Um, and then at the end of that process, you get your score. Um, for those who are interested, you can, for free, no obligation, no credit card, no email, um, go on my website, yourhappinesseq.com. You can answer the 7 questions and you'll get your score. And the idea is, a lot of people maybe want to improve their happiness, but they don't really know where to start. And one of the great things about this process is you can answer the 7 questions, and then inevitably, as you're going through the questions, you're going to think, well, you know what? I thought I was doing better in that particular area than I am based off of my own reflection and self evaluation. Um, I need to start being more intentional in this area. And then you kind of are off to the races there. My book gives uh, ideas, resources, things that have worked for me, things that have worked for other people on how to improve and optimize in these areas. And there's also a ton of resources everywhere you go to kind of optimize these different things. So that is the idea of the book.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, you went and when you were doing research for this, you were talking to people and asking them about their happiness and all of that. Did you have any stories that might have like stood out, maybe that were funny or that you could share?
Yeah, so, again, my brother, my partner in crime, we saw Seven Wonders of the World together, we do all these crazy things together. We actually, did a book tour in the US where
Okay.
we a road trip. I love books, by the way, I love road trips. Yeah. So we left from, Miami, and we drove up to the Canadian border, and we hit
Okay.
every major city in between. So that was, like, a pretty cool experience, and we travel well together. We're completely opposites. I'm the guy who's keeping us on time. He's the guy who's making sure that we have fun and that we get great content. So that's,
Balance each other out. That's awesome.
yeah, you can't travel I've traveled with people like myself who are just always on schedule, and we hit all our deadlines where we have no fun. So you gotta have like, a mixture. So that was really cool. So one of the things we did a number of things on our book tour. But, one of the things we did is we went to college campuses and we set up, a camera to record the video and audio, and then I was the guy on the microphone, and what I did is people walking by, we would poll them, "Hey, do you wanna answer 7 quick questions about happiness and get your happiness score?" So we did that. We had a bunch of people do it. We had very funny, interactions, some really heartfelt, uh, everything in between. Um, the funny stuff is not really punchy jokes that I could tell here that would be funny. A lot of our stuff you can check out on our Instagram page, and the humor will come through as you watch it.
Yeah.
Our Instagram and all our social media handles, but Instagram is the primary one, is at Your Happiness EQ. You can see some of our interviews and so on. One more kind of heartfelt or like interesting is like one of the questions in the happiness equation quiz is um on an A plus to F scale, how would you rate your gratitude in life? So we were on the University of Tennessee campus, and it was a beautiful fall. So in Florida, we don't really get falls. It's just basically hot, and then we get like 3 days of a little chilly. That's
That's where you
that's
guys pull
all.
out your parkas and
And then we complain and all that.
get it.
So we were in north of Florida. We were in Tennessee at the time, and it was a beautiful fall. And even the people who lived there, and we went further north, and everyone kind of said, "Man, we are having an exceptionally beautiful fall." So it was just awesome. So I asked the person the question, and he was like, "Man, it's really funny that you asked me that because I always think of how grateful I am while I'm walking on this specific path, and I'm looking at the trees and the way the sun hits it and the leaves and how beautiful everything is, and I'm just so thankful to be here on this campus and all the things in my life, and it just really reminds me of all the things to be grateful for." And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's a great way to kinda ground you too and, make you feel like what you're doing is actually helping other people and stuff, so I like that. That's awesome. So what's the most unexpected thing that you learned about happiness while you were working on your book?
So I wrote the book for a lot of reasons, and there are many levels to all the reasons I wrote the book. I did not think I would be helping myself. Well, not the goal. I didn't think I would be improving anything necessarily, but I have. And one of the things that I struggle with, it's question number 5,
Okay.
and that is when a meaningful situation does not go as expected, negative impact on your emotions lasts. And then you have 3 options: short, moderate, and long time. So I consistently and still do answer the question. It takes me like a moderate amount of time to get over things. I've kind of analyzed, well, why is that? And I've told myself these things like my whole life, like I have to process something and before I can let it go. Like, do I really need to do like? So I'm challenging some of these things that I've told myself all this time. And the latest version of improvement that I'm having in this particular area is like I'm giving myself the grace to not have to get over anything quicker because that can
Right.
be difficult and you can't force yourself to like get over something that you're still not over. But what I'm doing is I've challenged myself to realize that I'm holding on to something as quickly as I can. So when I realize, Leighton, you're doing that thing again, like, oh yeah, I am doing that. And then it's just like that very like awareness is like the first step to like improvement and you know change and so on. So just my awareness that I'm holding on to something has made it quicker for me to let these things go and get on to my great life because I have an amazing life,
Yeah.
and not holding on to holding on to things when like you have all these blessings and you're worried about this like one thing that's like not perfect. It's like doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so once you identify that you're holding on to it, how do you go about letting that go?
I don't really get into that. I don't know. I'm working on that myself.
Gotcha.
I have people in my life, and maybe you're like this, or I'm sure you know people like this. Is like something happens, and it's like it doesn't. It's not even a pit stop in their life. It's just like, and I'm not talking like an important person passed away, not stuff like that. I mean, that's gonna be something everybody's gonna
Obviously.
have to
Right.
process. But just like these things that some people hold on for a long time or a moderate time, or some people it's just in and out of their life. I think it has to do with the way you're wired possibly, or just so like a nature nurture thing, I don't know. But I know like letting go of these things like as quickly as possible is important. Maybe there'll be another book once I figure it out, but I haven't figured it out. However, I've figured out a lot of stuff. You just asked me a question of something I haven't figured out and something that I personally have to work on. Yeah, you stopped me.
Well, look, once you figure that out, I'm definitely like, I feel like that is what a lot of people struggle with on a regular basis. I have family members who hold grudges for decades, and it's like, why? Why are you doing that? Why can't you just let it go and move forward? But I get it. Some people just, they're not, like you said, they're not wired to do that. So I feel like I, one of those people will sometimes hold on to some things that I probably shouldn't. But yeah, I get that.
Yeah, okay, so some things I do because I don't hold on to things for a long time. I just have told myself, and I'm trying to untell myself that I have to process it before I let it go. I just want to like, but one of the things I do is I give people a lot of grace. In my best self, in my best moments when I'm at my best, I give people grace. So it's like someone did something to me and it affected me in some way. It's like, well, okay, well, what is that person going through? You
Right.
know, what did I contribute to that? Like, did they really I know I received it in a certain way, but is that the way that they intended to give it to me? You know, so if I can give someone grace in in a way that negatively affected me, then that is something that I really kind of have always done, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to maybe increase that to, like, let things go quicker, but I think grace is a big part of that.
Yeah, I think you just wrote book number 2. That's your answer right there. Like, I think that's the perfect thing. A lot of times we don't give ourselves grace either, in situations. So I feel like, yeah, doing that and like you said, stepping back and saying, this person's obviously going through something. We're going through something too. Maybe this isn't the right time or something along those lines. I feel like, yeah, I think you already wrote your book. You just haven't played it out and put it in words yet. That's all I'm saying.
See, we'll see.
So, does travel play into your happiness as well? Is that kind of what, boosted all of this?
I wouldn't say boost it, but it definitely plays a role in my personal happiness, and, for a lot of people. So, okay, one of the things that is important, and this is question number 2, so
Okay.
it's an important question. It's like,
Yeah.
do you belong to any groups that, that meet regularly and are meaningful to you? So I've kind of mentioned several times that my brother David, he's like my travel buddy. That's not my
Yeah.
wife, you know? And so a group doesn't have to be like we have meetings every Wednesday and, there's a treasurer and like a group doesn't have to be that. It's basically just two or more people that have shared goals, common interests, their values around, that group dynamic and so on. So my brother and I, we are a group into ourselves. We happen to be brothers, so we're part of a family, we're part of a community, part of a bunch of stuff, other stuff together. But we have like a special thing because we travel together. So, so yes, so that is part of it. So the travels that we do are a way that we have these. I mean, imagine, and you've traveled, so you know. But for people who haven't, imagine going around the world with somebody and, like, imagine the stories that you have. Imagine the moments that you share together. It's like to you can get that without traveling. So there's a million ways to get that without traveling, but traveling is definitely one way to get it. And, that is something that has greatly impacted my happiness, like, just I think of the stuff that we've done together, and it's like you just develop these bonds that are unbreakable, and, so to that extent, it is travel plays a role there. It I think of the travels I've had with my kids, so, I was married, to my first wife, I'm remarried now, there was a divorce, and there were 3 kids, and it's just a pretty incredibly intense, crazy time. But one of the things I realized is, like, the value of my time with my children, 'cause I was always the type of father, that, I always read to my kids, we always did really cool stuff together, but when I realized that I went from 100% access to like 50%, it was devastating on all levels. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to make the most of this time that we have. So that is where we've done crazy things, awesome, epic. But that's where some of our best road trips, our very first road trip, our epic road trip, we called the Crazy Horse Ride because they wanted to see the Crazy Horse Monument
Okay. Yeah.
in South Dakota. And they used to sing the song because of a cartoon that they watched, and they were always singing the song. It was on Mr. Peabody and Sherman, and
Okay.
whatever. So they would sing the song. I was like, guys, you guys want to go see that? They're like, yes, let's go. So we went on that trip, and I don't know how many years it's been, approaching 10 years ago. And we still talk about that trip today.
I
You
like
know,
that.
so you talk about travel. It's a great way to like have a bond. Even my wife and I. So we went to Belize 2 months ago,
Please.
and the hurricane. We went there for a wedding, but there was a hurricane that was coming. The wedding was on a barrier island, and like we cannot get like wiped out and stuck in Belize. So it's like,
Right.
we're gonna go back to the city, Belize City. Yeah, that's where the main airport was. But when we went there was no hotels. There's zero, no hotels, no Airbnbs, no anything. So we slept in our car
Oh,
outside of the police station because there was no option. It's not like even if it's been 10,000, 20,000 hotel, it just was not an option. So that's what we did. And it turns out to be like a story we have that's cool. And she completely, I'm down for that. Like, I don't care. Like,
yeah.
whatever. She is not like that, but she just realized there was nothing that either of us could have done. So we did that, and it was cool, and we got a hotel the next night when everybody realized that it wasn't the end of the world, and had a great trip, and it was really cool.
Yeah. Belize is one of those countries, though. I feel like is okay to be in those situations. So I went on a solo trip there, and I don't. Well, you were mainland, so on the island of Ambergris Caye, San Pedro, it's so small that you could drive your golf cart around, right? So I'm in my golf cart. I'm driving it around. It's the first time I've ever really been in one. I'm not an expert by any means. And to get to the main beach there, Secret Beach, you have to drive down this huge like gravel road, and it's real long, and there's tons of like puddles and all this and that whatever. Well, apparently you can't take a golf cart through a puddle.
Oh,
I didn't know that. So I learned the hard way, and I guess some of the water got onto the spark plug or something, and I broke down. I'm in the middle of the road by myself, have like in this golf cart. I'm like, I have no idea what to do. I'm just like, la la la, So all these people were passing me, and a lot of locals stopped, and it ended up where I was like maybe a quarter mile away from a bar. So these two teenage kids, they were like 15 and 16 running this bar. They came driving down with their golf cart, and they're like, hop in, we got you, no worries. So I'm like, okay. So I hop in their golf cart, and we drive. He like pushes my cart down to the bar, and they made this pineapple drink for me. And it ended up being like such an amazing day. But at the same time, it's like, what do I do? But the people in Belize are so incredibly kind that I
yeah,
think that I would feel comfortable sleeping in a car in Belize City and it not be a problem. So,
we did, and it was fine. Yeah, and it was I agree, the people were really cool, and I wanna go back and do a trip that doesn't involve a hurricane and a sleeping in my car because it was so cool. It's such a cool trip. I could just only imagine if it was, like, more, traditional
I've been
situation.
a couple times and I absolutely love it. I feel like if I could retire anywhere, it would be in Belize for sure.
We saw a lot of expats there, and I get it.
Yeah, and it's cheap too. The food is amazing. And yeah, just everybody is so nice, and yeah, I love Belize. It's definitely one of my faves. So, yeah. Let's see. So, how do you think that travel can help connect somebody who's going through a rough patch, or maybe help them connect with somebody that they're having an argument or something like that with?
Yeah, argument and travel, I don't no, I probably wouldn't. Uh, they can. I mean, I think if you're having a bad time with someone, maybe, an elaborate vacation and traveling together may not be the move. Maybe more of a staycation kind of a thing,
Okay, that's a good idea.
maybe
Yeah.
a lower bar. I've never personally done that. Um, Travel has so many benefits though, like when you know you have a trip coming up, it's kinda hard to, like, have a massive blowout fight,
Exactly.
you know? And then when you've come off of a trip, it's kind of you have, like, a grace period of you're basking in the glow of the travel that you had and the good times you had, so there's like a lead up benefit, usually having a great time on the trip, and then there's, like, an afterglow effect of it. So it just kinda you're getting, like, maybe 3 months of of goodness out of it, so there's that. Um So, what was the first part of your question again?
I just didn't know if maybe like there was a way that it would bring people together. Do you feel like
Yeah,
travel unites people and could possibly make their relationship stronger?
for sure. So, like, if you have a person that you're cool with, you love, whatever the case may be, it's all good vibes. I think
Mhm.
a trip can, it could also strain the relationship.
Well, yeah, I guess
It
that's true too.
that
Like, 'cause you don't really know somebody until you travel with them.
This is true. But if you guys are good together in any level, a trip can really just solidify that in a very impactful way. It also may let you know that, all right, well, maybe we had these aspirations for a relationship or a friendship or whatever, and then in traveling with them, you're like, maybe that's not in the cards, and that's a good thing to know as well too. Um, but yeah, you're really gonna find out what you're working with, to some degree if you travel with someone. So I encourage it. Um, it's worked for me. We have, like I said, my brother and I have been the core of like a travel group, and on these Seven Wonders, we've had all types of people shuffle in and out, and they're not really. I don't know that anyone's ever done two with us. It's always been my other brother did two with us, but we love. He's an amazing guy and has traveled even more than I have,
Oh,
and has done amazing. But he's just so busy and he's very successful. So like we get him when we can get him, kind of the thing. But we've had people who've come on some of our trips who are like, you know what, probably never traveling with that person again.
okay.
But it's good to
Fair
know.
enough.
It's good to
Yeah,
know. So, yeah, I encourage it.
absolutely. Yeah. So, if you like were to give advice to somebody who was stuck in a rut, would you tell them to plan a trip, or what would your advice be?
Yeah, I would definitely say for me, traveling has been huge, and one of the things, with, like, post-divorce, like, I didn't really travel before my divorce. We're from Jamaica originally, live in Florida, and
That's awesome.
so it was always Jamaica. Like, I've seen Jamaica so much that I don't want to go back to Jamaica anytime soon. Although my wife now, she wants to go back to Jamaica, and I will at some point. But I was like, you know what? I want to see the rest of the world. So post divorce, and I'm thinking, okay, well, what am I going to do with my life? What am I going to do with extra time that I not with my kids? Like, I
Right.
was like, you know what? Let me go see the world. And one of the best, most fulfilling, most rewarding, it's an investment. You're investing in yourself when you travel. If you do it the right way, and I would say the wrong way to travel is anything that puts you in like debt that you're like you regret it, and it's like this weight that comes with you for like months or years. That like I don't think I think that's a very bad idea. But if you have travel that you can afford and be creative, that kind of travel is almost always positive and highly recommended.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. So just sorry, going back to the whole Jamaica thing. I didn't know. I had no idea that you were Jamaican. That's awesome. Jamaica is actually my second favorite place in the world besides Belize. My husband and I
I
have
wouldn't
been
really
there like
like
a
Jack
dozen
and
times. Yep. They're they're both amazing places. They're both completely different from each other, but
for
just
sure. What
absolutely
do you like
beautiful.
in Jamaica, or what city do you go to, or what do you do in more?
We normally stay at Montego Bay. So there used to be a Holiday Inn there. I know it's not a Holiday Inn anymore. They've changed management. But it used to be all inclusive and it was cheap. Right on the beach, perfect little spot. We go and we hang out there as long as we could. And we go see as much as we can. There's only like a few things in the excursions list that I haven't done yet. Then the one thing that I have to do, so I'll have to go back, is go to Floyd's. Have you ever been there? The Pelican Bar? No.
No.
Oh my goodness.
And
So
what is
actually it's a little bar that's off like in the ocean somewhere off the Black River, I believe, in the
sorry?
Grill. I'm not sure. But anyways, you'll have to look it up. It looks like it'd be like just a really cool place. There's no bathrooms or anything. It's just like this little bitty bar right in the middle of the ocean. So one of these days I'm gonna make it back to go hang out there. But everything else is so much fun down there. I love it. So yeah, the
Yeah.
people are great. So were you born in Jamaica?
Yeah, I was born in Jamaica.
Oh.
Born in Jamaica, left when I was very young, but pretty much raised in America and an American citizen. My children were born here. My wife is from Turks and Caicos, uh,
Oh.
which I've never been to, and we're probably gonna try and get there this year. So, have you been to Turks?
I have not. No, it's on my list.
Yeah.
All the Caribbean islands are. One of these days I'll make it to all of them, but
Well, that's an example of a travel goal, like, which I haven't done myself, but like to get to all Caribbean islands. That kind of gives people like, I want to travel. I don't know what to do next. It's like, well, pick something. Like one of the things that are on my list now is I want to go to all the Spanish speaking countries in the world, and that's probably my next thing.
are you fluent in Spanish?
I'm not, but I'm pretty decent.
Okay.
Pretty decent.
Yeah, I feel like that's the best way to learn though, is to like totally just immerse yourself into it and just be like, "Hey, I'm gonna learn today. I don't have a choice."
Yeah, I've traveled to Spanish speaking countries and
Mhm.
spoke a lot of Spanish there. There is a sometimes like people don't want to speak to you because they, just maybe more annoying and they're in the middle of working or whatever they're doing and they don't want to. So one of the things that my wife and I are going to do is when our youngest graduates, we are going to go and live in some Spanish speaking country, maybe Medellin, maybe Tulum, um, and live there for like 6 months to a year.
That's a
And
great
I
goal to
think
have.
that would definitely just perfect my Spanish, and then I'd come back
Yeah.
perfect Spanish speaker.
That's awesome. So, my dad is actually from Ecuador, and he's fluent in Spanish, and didn't take the time to really teach me as a young person or whatever, a kid. And now to this day, I'm like, I like out of all the things that you could have taught me, like, why didn't you teach me how to speak Spanish? So anytime we go anywhere, I do have a little bit of that Latino look. So I go to Puerto or Punta Cana, I was in Puerto Rico, all those places, and they're like. I don't. I look like I do, but I don't. So
It's not too hard to learn, you know?
I know. Well, that's what they say. I've taken 4 years of it and I can barely read it. One of these days. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this has been such a great conversation, Leighton. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit today. I'd like for you to go ahead and plug your business one more time. Let everybody know exactly where they can get your book because it definitely needs to be a thing in everybody's shelf. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so best place to go to access all resources related to the book is our website. And again, it's yourhappinesseq.com. So
Yeah.
on the website, you can buy the book and please buy the book. I think it can help people. The feedback, it just launched on February 4th, and the feedback has been amazing. So buy the book, please. And then after you buy the book, and then you also be after you get through it, if you can leave us an Amazon review, that is huge. That can help it more people become aware of it. That's awesome. And also on our website. Yeah, for sure. Also on our website, you can get your completely free happiness score. So that
Okay.
is part of the website too. And then in terms of social media, the best place to like follow along and see all our cool stuff as soon as it comes out is Instagram, and that's at your happiness EQ.
Fantastic. Awesome sauce. So, one last question before I end every show. I always ask everybody, what does paradise mean to you?
Paradise means um, being with people that you love and having amazing experiences.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely. Well, man, this has been a great conversation. Thanks again, Leighton. I appreciate you so much. We will definitely keep in touch. I can't wait to see all of the journeys that you go on in the next few years or whatever. And I cannot wait to read your book. I am so excited about it. I literally have like my whole weekend just planned on reading. So I'm stoked. Anyways, have a great day. We'll talk soon. I hope you talk to everybody. Have vibe.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it.
Hey there, beach lovers. That's it for today's episode of Beachside Banter with B. I sure hope you had as much fun as I did. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review if you enjoyed the show. You can catch me on all social media platforms at Life, Love, and Travel. And if you've got a question or you just want to stop by and say hi, feel free to slide into my DMs and I'll make sure to get those answered for you. Big thanks to everyone who joined me today and for all of you who tuned in. And until next time, enjoy your week.